Good morning, BA Part 1 Literature students. Today I shall be discussing the poem To His Coy Mistress by Andrew Marvell. First of all, I shall be reading out the poem to you. It's a love poem. Had we but whirled enough in time, this coyness lady were no crime. We would sit down and think which way to walk and pass our long love stay. Thou by the Indian Ganges side, should rubies find, I by the tide of Humber would complain. I would love you 10 years before the flood, and you should, if you please, refuse till the conversion of the Jews. My vegetable love should grow vaster than empires and more slow, and 100 years should go to praise thine eyes and on thy forehead gaze. 200 to adore each breast, but 30,000 to the rest. An age at least to every part, and the last age should show your heart. For, lady, you deserve this state, nor would I love at lower rate. But at my back I always hear Time's winged chariot, hurrying near, and yonder all before us lie, deserts of vast eternity. Thy beauty shall no more be found, nor in thy marble vault shall sound my echoing song. Then worms shall try that long preserved virginity, and your quaint honor turn to dust, and into ashes all my lust. The graves a fine and private place, but none I think do there embrace. Now therefore, while the youthful hue sits on thy skin like morning dew, and while thy willing soul transpires at every pore with instant fires, now let us sport us while we may, and now like amorous birds of prey, rather at once our time devour than languish in his slow bar, let us roll all our strength and all our sweetness up into one ball, and tear our pleasures with rough strife through the iron gates of life. Thus, though we cannot make our sun stand still, yet we will make him run. Now, this particular poem, it's full of figures of speech. You find so many similes, so many metaphors. It's rich in style. Now, I will just give you the summary and analysis to his coy mistress. That is from the study guide. I have given you the reference also from where it has been borrowed. The poem is spoken by a male lover. So the speaker is the lover to his female beloved as an attempt to convince her to agree to his love. The speaker argues that the lady's shyness, that is her coyness and hesitancy, would be acceptable only if the two had world enough and time. But because they are finite human beings, he thinks they should take advantage of their sensual embodiment while it lasts. The lover tells the lady that her beauty as well as her long preserved virginity will only become food for worms unless she gives herself to him while she lives. Rather than preserve any lofty ideals of chastity and virtue, the speaker affirms the lovers ought to roll all their strength and all their sweetness up into one ball. So, again, metaphor. He is alluding to their physical bodies coming together in the act of lovemaking. So, to analyze this poem, I just give you an analysis. Marvell wrote this poem in the classical tradition of a Latin love elegy, in which the speaker praises his mistress or lover through the motif or seize the day. The poem also reflects the tradition of the erotic pleasant, in which a poet constructs elaborate images of his lover's beauty by carving her body into parts. Its verse form consists of rhymed couplets in iambic tetrameter proceeding as A, B, B, C, C, and so forth. The speaker begins by constructing a thorough and elaborate conceit of the many things he would do to honor the lady properly. If the two lovers indeed had enough time, he says, so he says that it is impossible because they don't have that much time for the courtship. He claims he could love her from 10 years before the biblical flood narrated in the book of Genesis, while the lady would refuse his advances up until the conversion of the Jews. So there is a literary allusion here. Okay, it's very rich in what you say style, which refers to the day of Christian judgment prophesied for the end of times in the New Testament book of Revelation. The speaker then uses the metaphor of a vegetable love, just now we had read, to suggest a slow and steady growth that might increase to vast proportions, perhaps encoding a phallic suggestion. This would allow him to praise his lady's features, eyes, forehead, breast, and heart in increments of hundreds and even thousands of years, which he says that the lady clearly deserves due to her superior stature. He assures the lady that he would never value her at a lower rate than she deserves, at least an ideal world where time is unlimited. Marvell praises the lady's beauty by complimenting her individual features using a device called an erotic blazon, which also evokes the influential techniques of 15th and 16th century Petrarchian love poetry. Petrarchian poetry is based upon rarefying and distancing the female beloved, making her into an unattainable object, as this happens in this poem. In this poem, though the speaker only uses these devices to suggest that distancing himself from his lover is mindless because they do not have the limitless time necessary for the speaker to praise the lady sufficiently, he therefore constructs an erotic blazon only to assert its futility. The poem's mood shifts in line 21 when the speaker asserts that time's winged chariot is always near. The speaker's rhetoric changes from an acknowledgement of the lady's limitless virtue to insisting on the radical limitations of their time as embodied beings. Once dead, he assures the lady her virtues and her beauty will lie in the grave along with her body as it turns to dust. So he says that why this should happen. They should utilize their time well. Likewise, the speaker imagines his lust being reduced to ashes, while the chance for the two lovers to join sexually will be lost forever. The third and final section of the poem shifts from an all out plea and display of poetic prowess in which the speaker attempts to win over the lady. He compares the lady's skin to a vibrant layer of morning dew that is animated by the fires of her soul and encourages her to sport with him. While we may, time devours all things, the speaker acknowledges, but he nonetheless asserts that the two of them can, in fact, turn the tables on time. They can become amorous birds of prey that actively consume the time they have through passionate lovemaking. So, students, on the whole, this is a love poem where the lover is pleading his beloved to come and live with him and enjoy all the pleasures of their lovemaking. So, the finally the lover, he ends his request, okay, and he wants his beloved to be at the side of him always, and the poem ends here. So thank you for patience, students. Tomorrow we shall be discussing the next poem. Thank you so much.